Hi, Nana.
Hi, Zach.
So, what is your full name?
Linda Sue Weiss,
What year were you born in?
1945,
How long have you been coming to Hong Kong?
since 1975.
So, I know that you had a travel agency that dealt with Hong Kong. When did you start that?
I opened my travel agency, I don't remember the year,
Mm-hmm.
but I always loved travel. I worked part-time in travel someplace else and then decided to open my own agency a long, long time ago. I sold it in the late, I think late 1980s, when the airline started to have 24-hour 800 numbers. And I couldn't, as a small agency, give my customers 24/7 service. So I knew the end of personal travel agencies, individually owned travel agencies, was coming. So I sold my agency. However, I was a certified travel agent and a life member of the Institute of Certified Travel Agents, and was given the opportunity to earn a master's degree in travel administration and tourism development from the George Washington University, and I did consulting in tourism development.
In the late 1980s, many airline companies significantly cut their ticket prices, opening up the opportunity to travel to many more people. While this may sound like a benefit, this turned out to be a double-edged sword for many travel agencies, as there were more clients, but the commissions were significantly lower. Many agents had to take up to 25% more clients in order to keep the same revenue. Small travel agencies, such as Rainbow World Travel, were hit the hardest, as they didn't have the resources to support a larger number of clients.
So, what type of clients did your travel agency focus on?
We had all types of clients, personal and business travelers, and we sent people all over the world.
Mm-hmm. In East Asia, what countries did you focus the most on?
Well, when I was sending clients to East Asia, I would always tell them how wonderful Hong Kong was and how easy it was to get around, etc.
On October 21st, 1978, the first MTR line opened in Hong Kong. It consisted of a 9-mile stretch from Shek Kip Mei to Kwun Tong. Soon after, in 1980, the MTR Harbor Crossing opened, connecting the Tsuen Wan line with what is now Central Station. This was the first light rail system opened in Hong Kong. It provided simple transportation to and from Hong Kong Island for those without cars.
So, which parts of Hong Kong do you think have changed the least since you started coming?
I'd have to say the least would probably be Stanley Market, except now they have plumbing, which is just a pleasure, and it's much cleaner. But because of the size of it and the way it's laid out, it has changed the least. Victoria Peak, with all the new construction there, has really, really changed. However, it's still the same tram. Um, Cat Street, Ladder Street is still pretty much the same, and the markets are still the same. Um, the least, and the Star Ferry hasn't changed much. Really, it hasn't changed at all, except the ease of getting on with the coins and the octopus. The octopus has been wonderful, and that of course speeds up all the transportation and the intermodal connections.
So, are there any other things you miss about Hong Kong?
Yes, I miss it, but I'm happy that it's clean for Hong Kong. I miss Aberdeen and all the people living on their boats and being able to take a little sampan around and see the people actually living on their boats. However, I very much appreciate how clean all the water is. I'm extremely impressed with the cleanliness of the water around Hong Kong. And I guess you have to sacrifice a little to gain a lot. And it certainly was a big gain for Aberdeen to have clean water.
In 1997, Britain's 99-year lease of Hong Kong from China came to an end. The establishment of Basic Law meant that Hong Kong would still be able to enjoy the freedoms it had under the UK, but the exact interpretations China would take were still up in the air leading up to the transition. Although Miss Weiss no longer lived or worked in Hong Kong, she kept in touch with many local colleagues and shopkeepers who were affected by the transition.
About what the shopkeepers thought about the transition, things they thought might change, things they might have been worried about or excited about?
They were just scared, most of them. They didn't know what would happen. They didn't know how much of the freedom they enjoyed as a Hong Kong under England would be changed to Hong Kong under mainland China rule. And many of them had been born and raised here in Hong Kong.
So how are your experiences with Hong Kong different than those of other travelers in general?
A lot of travelers use Hong Kong as a transit city and don't spend much time here. I use Hong Kong as my destination because I find a lot of things that I enjoy doing with Hong Kong as my destination. Most people I know come in for 2 or 3 days and then go on a cruise or go on a tour and they're gone. But I like to spend usually 2 weeks. I just think less than 10 days is too little, and 2 weeks seems to be ideal for me.